Hello, it's Chaplin73, and I'm joined today by another artist. This artist is called Paul Kneen. Hello, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Darren?
Yeah, not bad. And I understand you're actually at your exhibition today. You've got an
I am.
exhibition. I'll let you tell people about the exhibition and what it's all about.
Okay, well, let me just flick my phone round because rather than looking at my ugly mug, it's probably better to actually see what's going on here. Um, there we go. Yeah, so I am at the museum today because the museum's open and I want to meet people.
Which
Yeah, this is
museum is
back.
it, Paul?
So it's at Peterborough Museum.
Right.
Yeah, it's on till June the 15th. So been here now for about a month.
Mhm.
But yeah, I want to kind of meet all the people that are coming in and be able to answer questions. And I just felt that it was important to, yeah, to be able to kind of ask any questions and meet all the people that are coming through. So yeah, this is the start of it. I don't think I've ever seen my name so big.
And it's
Um,
called Paintings, a play on the
yeah,
word, obviously
it's
paintings with
called
the word
yeah.
paint.
So it's obviously it's a play on the word paintings, but I kind of just thought that it was quite clever in the sense that obviously it has the word pain in it, and that's kind of
Mhm.
essentially what the exhibition's about. It's kind of reflections or sort of just sort of emotions, really, kind of how sort of people feel at the moment. I think with the cost of living crisis,
Mhm.
the wars that are going on, just inept governments that don't really seem to care about what's happening at ground level, and it's just it's just all this kind of angst feelings and depression and all that kind of stuff. So basically, the way that I've done the exhibition is I've set it up pretty much chronologically,
Right.
so that you can kind of see the process that I've kind of gone through, or hopefully you see kind of the process and sort of get to see kind of my evolution, I guess, because all of this work was done over the last 15 months.
Right. Okay.
So this is kind of these bits on cardboard are kind of almost like I kind of sort of see them almost like a sketch pad.
Mhm.
So it's just like lots of kind of different ideas, different styles, different, just lots of different things kind of going on. They're all quite different to one another. Um, and yeah, it's just kind of blasting out a load of different ideas. And then I kind of moved on to some stencil work because I kind of quite like stencils as well.
Yeah.
They're all done on card as well. But then I started moving on to canvases and just
Uh-huh.
kind of different pieces. There's one there. Yeah, and then also I wanted to incorporate some of the boards that we've been doing at the Cork Fest events,
Right. Okay.
just because I thought they'd be quite nice to kind of have different bits on different scales. So there's obviously 8 foot by 8 foot boards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously, well, not obviously, but I spoke to Corp and explained that I've got the show coming up.
Mhm.
And excuse me. So basically, said, is it any chance that we could keep my boards? Because obviously, normally they just get whitewashed ready for the next event.
Yeah.
So he very kindly kept my ones to one side. And so, yeah, there's 3 boards on display as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the first of 3 rooms, which, yeah, they're quite a substantial sized rooms. So for the last 15 months, it's been quite a daunting kind of feeling of have I got enough bloody work for this show?
I was just about to say, it's a huge space. I'm kind of getting an idea of how big the space is there, and was that a very intimidating thought that you got to fill a museum basically?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in all honesty, sort of well, it's probably about 16 months ago now. I got approached by the museum
Mhm.
and asked if I'd do a solo show. And obviously, I immediately said yes because I like a
As you
challenge,
do.
etc., etc. Yeah, of course. But yeah, I think it was probably maybe a couple of days later. I did kind of have a complete and utter panic. Um, you know, just because I knew how big the space was. Because how this actually all came about was that I think it was 2, maybe 3 years ago.
Right.
They had an urban exhibition in this space. So they had Banksy, Pure Evil, My Dog Size, Fail, Damien Hirst, Tracy Emin. I'm not quite sure why they had Damien Hirst and Tracy Emin. I wouldn't really regard them as urban, but anyway, they were in. But yeah, lots of big named kind of artists in there. And what they were actually looking for in the smaller exhibition space next door was a local artist.
Right.
And what's actually quite amazing about this, because it just sort of shows why I don't. It kind of just blows my mind, really, kind of all that sort of serendipity, kind of chance, kind of sort of stuff. But my brother-in-law was actually in a shop in Peterborough and overheard a woman explaining to somebody else about the idea of having a local artist in the room next door whilst the urban exhibition was going on. And he just sort of butted in the conversation and said, oh, you should have a look at my brother-in-law's stuff. So he showed them some bits and bobs. Next thing I know, I'm getting an email from the museum saying, would you like to exhibit in the room next door? I said, absolutely. And yeah, and then, you know, 15, 16 months ago, I'm being asked if I want to take over the space where all of that stuff was in. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's just kind of quite weird how things sort of happen.
Yeah. I mean, life is like that, isn't it? It's just, when opportunity strikes, it's just about being ready, isn't it? You know, or being able to just say yes and then get on with it and panic about how you're going to do it later.
Yeah, exactly. So I got offered the space, had a mild panic attack when I realized, you know, obviously that I now need to actually fill that space. They did send me the floor plans. I came in and took lots of photographs of it. Basically just started painting.
So you've spent 15 months painting, and you curated and put it all together as well yourself?
No, so there's a woman here called Amy.
Right.
She's the curator. So she helped me bring, you know, sort of decide where everything's going to go. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I didn't stop painting for 15 months, as in like I painted every single day, because I was just so sort of worried, I guess is probably the right word. But so worried that I wasn't going to have enough stuff to actually fill the space. So I just wanted to kind of just keep going and going and going and going until basically I ran out of time. But because of where I was painting, all of the pieces were just kind of stacked against each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd never actually seen them kind of all laid out because I didn't have big enough space to kind of lay it all out. It was only when we actually brought all the stuff down about a week before the exhibition opens that once we actually started laying it out, that I felt like the weight lifting off my shoulders, because it was only at that point that I sort of realized, okay, thank God, like I've actually got enough stuff.
Yeah, and then I suppose once you've got it all in the museum and you've put it all up, the nerves kick in about how it's going to be received as well, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, do you know what though? This is the first exhibition that I've ever done where they brought a professional person in to actually hang the stuff. So I was quite excited about that. Wow. So yeah. I came in and worked with Amy for about 4 hours or something, deciding where everything was going to go, and then left, and then came back 2 days later, and everything was all hung, and that was quite a nice sort of proud moment, I'd guess.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah,
it's kind of quite sort of surreal to see all my work kind of around. I've become a bit blasé about it now. I've been here for a month.
Artist, did you? You didn't become that artist who comes in and goes, no, that needs to be moved 5 millimeters that way. No.
Absolutely not. No,
I'm glad to hear that, Paul.
No, he's a very professional guy. He had one of those laser gadgety things to make sure everything's super level, and yeah, I mean it's absolutely perfect. So
yeah. And so you got it all together, put it all in one place. What was your initial feelings once you saw it all together?
It sounds a bit cheesy, but I was a little bit kind of like welling up. I'm not going to lie. It was quite an emotional sort of moment. You know, I'd spent sort of 15 months essentially just being sort of stress painting, I think is probably the best term for it.
Painting. Yeah.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing kind of feeling, really. Um, yeah, I mean, you obviously, as you know, when you're painting, you're kind of there alone with just your thoughts, and
Mhm.
you spend all this time kind of going, have I got enough stuff? Are people going to like it? Are they going to get it? Are they going to understand it? Blah 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 blah. And then to sort of walk in and just sort of see all three rooms filled with all of your work and your name, on a big vinyl sticker thing at the entrance and all of this kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, it's quite a sort of yeah. I mean, everyone sort of says to you, oh, you must be really, really proud and stuff. I think I'm just really, really tired.
Yeah, a bit numb at the moment. It might all sink in a couple of months' time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm just let me switch the thing around again.
Yep.
So yeah, so that was obviously the first room that we were just in,
Hmm.
and then we walk into this sort of squarer room.
Yeah.
And in here, like if you in the first room where I sort of started, they're kind of more almost like more sort of traditional portraits.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also the colors are a lot sort of more somber, a bit darker maybe.
Yeah.
But then I started to sort of incorporate a bit more color into stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, just for me, I kind of like, oh, this is, I just sort of felt it was quite a sort of interesting adding the color to it all.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So there's some different ones here. There's another one there.
Yeah,
But
I've
yeah, and
seen I've seen some of the pictures, obviously on the internet and on social media, of some of
yeah,
your paintings there, and some of them are very bright. And I did want to just have a bit of a conversation with you about that, because obviously the exhibition's called Paintings. It's about human emotion. Quite often artists go for that that dull, drab kind of paint color scheme, and some of your paintings are in this are very bright, but they still pick up the emotions. It's
yeah. Well, yeah, that's exactly what I sort of thought, is that I kind of quite like, it's almost like a bit of a weird sort of thing. That idea of sorry, I'm just trying to switch it around. There we go. Of trying to sort of incorporate kind of color,
Mhm.
almost like going.
Hello, we appear to have frozen. Hopefully not for too long. I'm kind of hoping that Paul comes back very soon. uh, we'll just patiently wait for a second.
There we go.
There we go. Oh, he's back. He's back. we
Did
we
you
knew that
actually
would
hear?
happen with you walking
Yeah, I
around.
know. Yeah, but could you hear what I was saying, or should I
No,
repeat
no,
myself?
yeah, you'll have to repeat
Yeah,
yourself.
right. Yeah. So we were talking about color, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I started to incorporate color into it all, and I kind of just, I don't know, there was something kind of interesting about sort of having sort of these dark sort of emotions,
Yeah.
negative emotions, but then incorporating quite sort of bright, almost popping kind of color into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's interesting is actually when people have come into the exhibition, and gone, through the journey, from room 1 to room 2 to room 3, what they've actually found is that in room 3, that it almost feels like there's a sense of hope because of the
Hmm.
bright popping colors. And to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest, it would be kind of, I could quite easily sort of say, yeah, that's exactly that's the reason that I did it and blah, blah, blah. But it's not at all. Like, that would be a complete lie. I just thought they kind of looked quite cool having like these really kind of bright colors. They kind of pop and capture your attention. They're quite eye catching, I think, by adding, the bright colors and stuff. I mean, if I just switch it round again now. So we're in the third room.
Yep.
So obviously, from the first room, they are quite sort of different now.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a progression through the.
Yeah. And that was the other thing for me, was just although I knew what the topic of the show was going to be, and that was
Mhm.
kind of, sort of reflection of the mood of sort of society at the moment, or how I feel society is, which is kind of just fed up. you know, irritated, frustrated, all of that kind of stuff. I was never quite 100% sure of how I wanted to portray it visually.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was kind of the other part of the exhibition for me, was to kind of go on a 15-month journey and just sort of see where it took me.
Yeah, yeah. I must say
And
some of those images behind you are quite striking. I mean, that one behind you at the moment is you know.
yeah, that was what, yeah, that's one that I did at the, yeah, Corp Fest at City College in Peterborough. But yeah, it's just, you know, it's been quite a sort of interesting, and again, like, just what I've actually really enjoyed about the exhibition is just people's responses to it all.
Yeah,
You sort of touched on it before, just about kind of worrying about, you know, how it's going to be received and stuff. And I mean, my dog Size actually made quite a good comments just before it opened, and he basically sent me a message to wish me good luck. And then the
yeah,
second bit was bearing your soul to the world.
yeah,
And that really kind of struck with me, because, you know, it was 15 months of intense painting to get all of this done. And, you know, for a lot of that time, you know, as I said before, you're alone with your thoughts. And a lot of those thoughts are people going to get it? Are they going to understand it? Is it all going to make sense? Because, you know, the pieces that are in the first room versus the pieces that are in the last room are quite different. They may have
yeah.
that similar sort of emotion, but in terms of the way that they're painted, it's very different. And are people going to be able to see that evolution and everything? But yeah, I mean, you know, I've had quite a lot of people come into the space over the last month, and in all honesty, it's completely and utterly blown me away just how people have reacted to it all. And I don't mean just by in terms of understanding the journey or getting the topic or anything like that, but genuine sort of people who have almost felt like, because of the topic that I'm painting here, I almost feel like I've created like a safe space where people have opened up. And, you know, I had somebody telling me, you know, that they'd sectioned themselves
Yeah,
due to various things. I've had people tell me that they've had mental breakdowns, and they've gone into detail about their dark times. You know, I had somebody the other day talking to me about which painting spoke to him because he'd just been diagnosed with bipolar.
right.
And it's just stuff that I never ever considered was going to happen when I decided to do this. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it almost feels like, in hindsight, almost feels quite naive to not think like that. But I just, you know, I just didn't think that people would do that, you know, and just sort of be so open and honest. But
Mm.
they have, and it's been quite
Art, art,
humbling. And
art does have a funny way of doing that to people.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, if I'm going to talk about things like mental health and, you know, sort
Mm.
of the dark times in people's lives and frustration and all that kind of stuff, I suppose it kind of almost should come with the territory. But I
Yeah.
just, yeah, I don't know why. I just never sort of, I guess I didn't sort of, I guess I underestimated how people would react.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I did a piece. Obviously, I work in mental health, and I did a piece of art a few years ago now, just before COVID. I think it was 2019, somewhere around there. And it was 70 pairs of shoes to represent the 70 people who took their lives in Cornwall. And obviously,
Yeah,
we did this. I nailed pieces of shoes to boards, and I wrote like son, daughter, brother, sister, you know, words on those shoes that were sort of like representative of the people who had taken their lives in that 1 year period, which is horrendous thought. 70 people in one county taking their lives in a year. But yeah, I had some people come up to me and talk about things that, you know, I probably should have expected, but you know, they were very, you know, open with what they said. Was it on purpose that you have your exhibition during Mental Health Awareness Week?
no, not
No,
in
it
the,
was
not at all.
coincidence.
No, just
And do you
100%
think that
coincidence.
that's provoked some conversations this week?
Um, I would, yeah, I guess. I mean, there's one person that definitely I would say that that's true.
Yeah,
But for everybody else that's kind of come through, it's kind of, to be perfectly honest, been the same as the previous 3 weeks
yeah,
that it's been open. Just in terms of, I mean, I would think I would have noticed a difference if everything that I just said had happened this week. but it's happened right from right from the opening all the way through. So,
but that's great, because we should have an open dialogue about these things, regardless of whether it's a specific.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. But as I say, I just it's been genuinely sort of humbling. Just how honest people have been.
And I wanted to talk to you about the actual paintings as well. Obviously, some of them are on canvas, some of them are on board, some of them on cardboard. I've seen some on skateboards there.
Yes, I haven't actually shown the skateboard yet. Let's do that.
I've kind of seen them in the background behind you when you walk around. But yeah, they're amazing, aren't they? I love things on skateboard. I don't know why. I've never really been a skater. I've never been into skateboarding, but I just love the idea of using skateboards as canvas. Appear to have frozen again. Unfortunately, that's one of the things of moving around with a phone while you're on a Zoom call, is the fact that.
Right. Should I just? Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. We're back. Oh no, maybe not. We were back for a second then, Paul. We'll give Paul a second just to get somewhere where the signal was a little bit better. He did say to me prior to this interview that the signal wasn't the best throughout the whole of the building. But yeah, we're back. Hey. It's fine.
Did you actually get any of the skateboards in that?
We did see the skateboards, yeah.
Okay, good.
I was admiring the skateboards.
Okay, but yeah, no, I was just
prolonged look at the skateboards because it froze on the skateboards. So it's fine.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good. I mean, that's got to be better than like it freezing on my mug. You know what I mean?
Or freezing on the floor or the wall.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But I think I was in the middle of explaining about the fact that I used to skate when I was younger, like many, many moons ago. But I guess it's more of an influence from kind of my friends, Kane, Prin, and lots of different people that basically use skateboards to doodle on. And I thought, and I always really liked the look of them. And also I've got like a couple of them at home on my wall and stuff. And it's just something different to kind of have on your wall rather than just a traditional canvas. But that was one of the other things that I kind of consciously wanted to do in the exhibition, was have things different sizes, different, so I've got cardboard, I've got the large boards, I've got skateboards, I've got canvases of different sizes. I've got some limited edition prints here. And, so there's kind of, and also from a price point of view, it kind of, obviously the canvases are quite expensive, but then the prints, are a lot cheaper, So I wanted kind of, people to be able to kind of afford something.
Yeah. I think that's important as an artist. You've got to try and appeal to everybody's budget, and especially if the show's about the how people are feeling and with the cost of living and stuff. You've got to acknowledge that.
Yeah, exactly.
Products.
Absolutely.
So overall, do you think it's been an enjoyable experience, or is it something you're going to go, I'm never doing that again?
Oh, no. Yes, no. I would definitely do it again. Is it enjoyable? Yeah, there's definitely been some sort of enjoyable moments in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's that. I guess the problem with me is that I'm a complete and utter overthinker. So I sort of pretty much sort of stress about everything and anything, So it's just that, is there going to be more people coming through? People all still going to love it, or is it all going to be downhill from here and blah blah blah? But but it's been an amazing experience. And I think the biggest thing for me is just, as I said before, is just meeting the people, which, to be perfectly honest, was one of those things that I was kind of quite nervous about, because it's that, are people going to get it? Are they going to understand it? Are they, am I good enough? It's that constant kind of imposter syndrome going on in my head, and, and all of that kind of business. And it's just, it's just, as I said before, it's just been really humbling, really.
I can relate to the imposter syndrome. It's something that I struggle with on a daily basis, and
absolutely.
Hence, I've never had a solo exhibition. I've only ever been brave enough to put my pieces in group shows occasionally,
right.
But never had a solo exhibition. And the thought of it actually terrifies me.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I really can. I mean, you know, as I say, I've spent the last 15 months basically in
Yeah,
a sort of in various states of fear.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So yeah, I understand you've been actually painting in the museum whilst the exhibition's been going on.
I have, yes, I brought all my stuff down. Oh, I'm gonna switch it round.
Yeah,
And it may crash just on what I'm doing, yeah, but let's give it a go. So, oh no, there we go. Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah.
I've got a canvas there,
Hmm.
and yeah, I've sort of set up like a little sort of studio space here. So again, you know, it was that idea of wanting to be here because I didn't have to be here. You know, I could have set it up and just kind of buggered off and left, you know, left the exhibition to it on its own for 2 months. But I wanted to interact with people. I wanted to kind of sort of, you know, see with my own eyes the feedback and everything and what people thought of it. But on top of that, it's also, you know, I'm here to kind of ask any questions. And I think, you know, if anyone's got the answers to those questions, surely it's got to be the person that painted it all,
Yeah.
you know. And then I thought, well, if it's, you know, if there are going to be quiet periods, which, you know, during the week, like today on a Saturday, is usually the time when it gets very busy. So it opens at 10 o'clock. So not too long to go now. But I thought when it is quiet, I can kind of crack on with the painting and stuff. But
Yeah.
here's an exclusive for you. So the painting that I'm actually doing in the museum are actually acquiring it for their own private collection. So that's
Oh,
nice.
wow. Very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was quite pleased about that.
Yeah, I suppose they can actually write in the thing that it was actually painted here in the museum. So
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Although what I will say is because of my constant talking to other people, I've actually been here a month and that's all I've done. I should have been finished a long time ago.
that's fine. That is what it is, isn't it? That's what it's about. And the idea of you being there is to talk to the people, not to paint the picture. Really, that's sort of like
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the amount of times people kind of keep apologizing to me for for them disturbing me. And I'm
Mhm.
like, no. I'm here first and foremost to talk to people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, ideal. And how have you found it actually, like sitting in the museum painting with people milling around?
Yeah, it's all right. It's a little, it's not quite, you know, sort of studio sort of, you know, it feels kind of a little bit alien. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a little while to kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
But I was also, I think as much as I'd like to blame, you know, people coming here for making me only do that much in a month, I also feel like I've kind of maybe been on a bit of a go slow at the moment, just purely for the intense 15 months that I
Yeah.
had leading up to this, you know. So
Yeah, I think that is understandable.
having a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, I think that's very understandable. If you've been at it intensively for, you know, that long period of time, I think you probably get to a
I,
point
I
where
need
you
I need a
just don't
holiday,
want to see
Darren.
another paintbrush at the moment.
I need a holiday, Darren. That's what I need. I
Yeah, I
need to
remember
be able to
talking
wake up in the
to
morning and have sausages and bacon and just relax, you know?
yeah, I remember talking to my dog size just before the Inside exhibition, and he was like, "Yeah, my wife's booked a holiday for afterwards, and we're just going to go away and switch off." And
Yeah.
I spoke to him about it in the last interview, and he was kind of like, "Yeah, I just went on holiday, and for that, I think it was he said for the first week he didn't go out of the room or something because he was just like just so tired
I
and
can,
exhausted
yeah,
by it all."
I can imagine.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I should imagine it does take it out of you, and to go from that intensive period of that solitary painting to all of a sudden being immersed in people asking you questions and talking about your art and having to respond and think and reflect and all those things that go with conversation. It's a very different skill set, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like one extreme to the other. I mean, you know, I kind of describe it as almost being like in solitary confinement for 15 months and then
Yeah,
just sort of released to the world. And yeah, it's very weird, but it's also been kind of quite good for me in terms of what am I trying to say? And just because of all the questions that people keep asking me, And, you
Hmm.
know, some of them are always the same sort of questions, but there are often kind of sort of interesting curveball type questions. And it's really kind of, it makes you think, you know, and
Yeah,
it makes you think about and analyze your own work, and then being able to kind of communicate more effectively in terms of what your work is about. And I think that was always something that maybe was kind of lacking from me, you know, and
yeah.
it's that kind of, you know, I sort of put a post on social media the other day with an interview that I'd done in the museum space as well. And one of the things that I said was that I kind of often, as an artist, you kind of almost hide behind the artwork, and you want people to look at the artwork and not the artist. But what I've found through this is actually people are really kind of quite keen and interested in the person behind the paintings and want to know more about them as well. So, you know, it's kind of, yeah, as I say, just being able to kind of talk about it and articulate it,
Yeah, I
and get
think
all
that,
of those kind of get all of those thoughts that are always in your head as an artist kind of out in a kind of cohesive, sort of sensible manner.
yeah, I think that's part of the progression of an art, you know, an art career is you start and you're just painting, you're painting all the time, you know, but then as you progress as an artist, you've got to be able to talk about your art, you've got to be able to tell people about your art, you've got to be able to, you know, express what you're trying to get across in words as well as in pictures, kind of thing. And I think that's an important part of the career progression of artists. You know, you do see artists when they have gallery openings, they're there and they're talking about their art, and people are coming up and asking, you know, questions that they might not expect, or you know.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely. You know, like for me, it's kind of, why am I doing this? Why is this so important to me? And you
mhm.
know, just all of that sort of stuff. And it's just, yeah, it's kind of helped to clarify a few things, I think.
On reflection, would you have done anything different?
No, I don't
No.
think so.
Good.
No,
Good.
I'm actually no. I mean, which is obviously, you know, it's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
absolutely. It was a result.
it'd have been it'd been really bad if that answer was like, oh yeah, no, I'd have done this differently and that differently, and I wouldn't have done that, and blah blah blah. But no, I mean, as I say, I kind of, the thing is I'm quite a sort of planning, controlling type sort of person. I like to try and feel like I'm in control, even, you know, half the time I'm not.
Yeah.
But you know, but I just wanted to almost just sort of release myself from that kind of controlling thing over the last 15 months, and just let sort of things happen and see where things kind of go and all the rest of it, you know. And you know, in hindsight, I guess it was kind of a bit of a gamble, really, because
Hmm.
it could have been, you know, 15 months later, I still don't know what I'm doing, and I still don't feel like I've got a style, and I still feel like this and blah blah blah. But I actually, you know, I ended up with something at the end of it that I'm actually genuinely sort of pleased and proud of, you know, and it's
Yeah.
something that I want to kind of go forwards with and push more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's a huge body of work to have produced over a 15-month period. You know, it's a
yeah,
real
yeah,
achievement.
yeah. No, no.
Um,
I mean, it's weird. I mean, at the time, until the week before, when we actually sort of started setting it up, because everything was stacked, as I said before, you know, I really genuinely thought I didn't have enough stuff,
mhm.
because I always felt like I was behind
Yeah.
my sort of own personal schedule of how much stuff I felt I needed. So yeah, it's
Do you know how many pieces are in the exhibition?
90. Well, there's 90
90.
original pieces, and then I did a load of well, not a load, but I did some. Oh no, yeah, no, that was right the first time. Limited edition prints.
Yeah.
So I've only done a release of 10 of each of
Uh-huh.
them. Um, yeah, so there's like another 40 pieces.
They're
But yeah, there was
beautiful.
90 original pieces.
I do. And we're getting quite near the time of opening now, so I better hurry up and
Yeah.
wrap this up slightly. Any plans for the future, or are you just going to go on holiday and
No, well,
forget about
yeah,
life for a while?
no, no, no. There's yeah, no, there's a few things in the pipeline. There's some sort of projects and stuff. I've got some meetings next week to
Hmm.
do with something in Peterborough. I've got another interesting meeting at the end of all of this to do with some cultural thing in Peterborough.
Oh,
And
fabulous.
then yeah, no, there's some galleries that I'm speaking to as well. So Yeah, I kind of, that was, you know, aside from obviously wanting to kind of sell some stuff here,
Yeah.
my other big thing was to kind of use this as a springboard, hopefully to, you know, to other kind of new uh brains going
Opportunities
dead.
and yeah.
That's the big complicated word I was trying to think of. Yeah, opportunities.
Yeah. I mean,
See,
it's quite often is that
I
things
told you I need a holiday.
you do, yeah. Quite often it is things, you know, you do things to then open more doors, don't you? Which is
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I was kind of, you sort of always want to kind of live in hope that, you know, from this something else will happen, and then from that, you know, and some other doors will happen, and so on and so forth, you know. So you know, it just, my biggest fear was kind of doing this and nothing. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, right, okay, what do I do now? You know, but fortunately, you know, that's not going to happen. So I'm very,
yeah,
very happy about that.
fabulous. And I did see that you were featured on a BBC website
I
regarding
was, yes,
yeah.
I
So
was. I was very excited about that because next door to me in the exhibition space that I was in when the urban exhibition was here, they have a
yeah.
thing there called Must Farm, and it's kind of like the British version of Pompeii type thing.
Okay.
It's actually really, really interesting. But the reason I'm telling you about that is because I'm quite competitive, and I saw that there was a thing on the BBC about Must Farm, and my immediate thought was like, well, I'm not having that. So I sent the BBC a press release, and then that afternoon, I did an interview with them. So
Brilliant, brilliant, fabulous. Well, it's been lovely to speak to you. It's been lovely to spend time at your exhibition. Just remind people when it's on until.
it's on until June the 15th at Peterborough Museum, and I will be
Brilliant.
here every day that it's on, and it's closed Sundays and Mondays.
Fabulous. Well, I recommend people go and have a look. Unfortunately, it's a bit far for me to travel at the moment, so for all the way from Cornwall. But I'm really pleased that I've managed to see some of the stuff today, with you walking around, which has been quite successful. We've only had a couple of times we've cut out
It
the
wasn't
interview.
too bad, was it? It could have been a
No,
lot
it's fine.
worse. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your time, Paul. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you again.
All right.
And if you like what you've heard and what you've seen today, then please hit the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel because I will be interviewing more artists in the near future. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Darren.